Thank you for purchasing a SteelTuff steel building. The video you are about to watch will take you through the major steps of assembling your new building. A drawing package will be provided with your building that covers the finer details of the project. If there are any discrepancies between this video and the drawing package, the drawings will prevail. We highly recommend the use of proper safety equipment to help eliminate the risk of personal injury. A safe work environment is the best work environment. Your new SteelTuff building can be constructed using common, easy-to-find tools, as seen here. The size of your building may dictate what equipment would be best suited for construction. Smaller buildings could be constructed with the use of ladders, while larger equipment such as scaffolding or power lifts may be best suited for larger buildings. Choose the option that allows you to construct your building in the safest possible manner. Plan ahead when considering what type of equipment you'll need for unloading your building. A forklift is the most efficient and safe manner to unload the material. Check all materials for damage and count all components to ensure you have received the necessary parts. If you receive a damaged component, or if a component is missing, call the contact nearest you, as listed in your drawing package. Your building must be placed on a concrete slab with a minimum thickness of at least 6 inches at the wall perimeter in order to meet the building design specs. Contact your local building officials for proper foundation design and to obtain any building permits that may be required. Verify that your foundation is square to make sure your building will line up. If your slab is bigger than the building, lay out the building footprint with a chalk line. Make sure your outline is square and the proper size. This is a critical step to ensure your building fits together properly. Your building consists of individual stud wall sections with specific part numbers. Your drawing package will illustrate where each section is located. Stage your materials around the slab before you begin construction. This will help you account for all parts and help speed the construction process. After all materials are staged, you can begin assembling your building. One of the first steps is to assemble the corner boots. One boot is required at each corner. These boots are provided to keep the anchor bolt from being too close to the corner of the slab. As you look at the wall, the left corner will be the one that requires this boot. Reference your drawing package for an in-depth explanation. We recommend the use of a sill seal or caulking to keep elements from entering the building under the wall. The first wall to be installed is the wall section with a boot. Stand this wall section up and place it in the corner of your slab. Make sure it lines up with the edge of your slab or chalk line. Using a hammer drill equipped with a 7/16 masonry bit, drill through the bottom plate and into the concrete. Use the anchor clip hole as a pilot. After the hole is drilled, place an anchor bolt into the hole and tighten. Then secure the clips to the studs using the appropriate fasteners. Now stand the next corner wall up and butt it up against the previous corner wall. Use corner clamps to help keep the wall in place. It helps to clamp the anchor clip to the stud to keep it from moving while you drill the anchor hole. Install anchor clips and bolts as stated in the drawing package. Note, these anchors should never be more than 4 feet apart. Now screw the wall sections together according to the fastening instructions in your drawing package. Temporary bracing is required to properly and safely construct your building. Install the bracing as you go to help keep walls secure. We recommend that the bracing be installed no more than 10 feet apart. The bracing is also used to ensure that the walls are plumb as you proceed with the construction process. Properly squaring and plumbing your walls at the beginning will greatly reduce the risk of error later. Please note, temporary bracing is not supplied with your building package. Continue standing and connecting wall sections in the same manner around the building until all walls are completed. If you have a roll-up door framed opening, you can prep the header with clips to aid in the assembly of the wall. Lift the header into place and fasten as specified in your drawing package. After all wall sections have been installed, plumbed, squared, and secured with temporary bracing, you can now install the end brace channel. Use clamps to help hold the channel in place and install screws at each end as called for in the drawing package. You can now prepare to set your trusses. We recommend that you pre-mark the trusses for the hat channel locations. Refer to your drawing package for the proper placing of hat channels. To simplify truss installation, we also recommend that you install a truss clip on one side of the truss. Please note that the first and last truss do not require clips. Lift the first truss into place. The first truss will sit inside the end brace channel. The center of the truss will be 2 1/4 inches off the outside edge of the wall section. Secure the truss from the bottom as specified in the drawing package. Plumb the truss and use a temporary brace down to the ground to secure the truss in place. You can now start installing the interior trusses. Set each truss in place one at a time and secure them to the wall top plate with the pre-attached truss clips. Once the truss is in place, install the clip on the other side of the truss. It is critical to the design of the building that the trusses line up over the top of the wall studs. We recommend using a hat channel at the first location down from the peak to help secure the trusses. The hat channel should overhang the end truss in order to line up with the outer edge of the wall section. Secure each truss to the wall and to the hat channel before moving on to the next truss. If your building is longer than 24 feet, it will require a wind brace channel towards the center of the building. Place the channel on the top of wall centered over the stud and secure with clamps as required. Refer to your drawing package for the specific location. A truss will be centered inside this brace channel. Secure both channel and truss as called for in the drawing package. You can install the remainder of the hat channels as you go, or wait until all of the trusses are in place. The choice is yours. Note: hat channels must lap over a truss and need to lap a minimum of 2 inches from the center of the truss in both directions. As you install the trusses, plumb each truss and attach the hat channels as specified in the drawing package. The eave angle can be installed directly after the low eave hat channel is installed. This eave angle is temporarily secured with flathead screws until the roof sheeting is installed. Bottom cord bridging is installed to keep the bottom of the trusses stable. As with the hat channels, bottom cord bridging can be installed either during or after truss installation. The number of rows needed will depend on the width of your building. Consult the drawing package for the number of rows required as well as the fastening requirements. One set of sway bracing will need to be installed at each end of the building and at any interior wind brace channel location to help stabilize the trusses. These sway braces are installed on opposite sides of the peak in a diagonal manner to form an X. The rake angle can be installed after all the hat channels are in place. The long leg of this angle will face down and needs to be in line with the outside edge of the wall section. The fasteners should be placed no more than 1 inch away from the edge of the angle, as shown in the drawing package, to avoid interference with the roof sheeting. If you have purchased service doors or windows with your building, here are some of the basic installation steps. Position the window in the wall opening and make sure the window is level. Use flathead screws as specified in the manufacturer's installation instructions to secure the window in place. Next, install the trim. Measure the window and cut the trim as described in the drawing package, then secure with flathead screws. Use caulk around the perimeter of the window to help seal out the elements. When installing the service door, place caulking on the concrete to help seal the sill and then stand the door in place. Make sure the door is level and flush with the outside of the stud. Use shims where necessary and secure with screws per the manufacturer's installation instructions. After the door is secure, install the trim. Measure and cut the trim as described in the drawing package. Use caulk around the perimeter of the door, including the sill, to help seal out the elements. If you have purchased roll-up or overhead door openings, the next step is to install the cover trim and framed opening trims. Measure and cut the trims as shown in the drawing package and secure with flathead screws. Do not put screws in the area of the trim that will be exposed. If you are going to insulate your building, we highly recommend installing a thermal break on the roof and walls before you sheet your building. This will reduce the chance of condensation due to metal-on-metal contact between the sheeting and the structure. There are many different materials that are acceptable to use as thermal breaks, such as rigid foam board or reflective rolled insulation. The choice is yours. Note: the thermal break material must not exceed a thickness of 1/4 inch in order to maintain the structural integrity of the building. When installing the wall sheeting, the first step is installing the base trim. On a typical application, the base trim overhangs 1 inch below the top of the concrete slab. The base trim can be temporarily fastened with flathead screws until the wall panel is installed. If your panel sits on top of the concrete slab, as seen here, the base trim would not be needed. It is a good idea to caulk along the bottom of the wall section for added protection from the elements. We recommend that you pre-drill the wall panels for the fasteners. This helps ensure your fastener lines are straight and makes the installation of fasteners easier. Measure the locations of the horizontal supports and mark a wall panel with these locations. Refer to the drawing package for the spacing of wall fasteners, and make sure you have the panel oriented in the proper direction. Use this panel as a template and drill the panels while they are stacked together. Make sure you account for any different base conditions and only drill panels for each particular wall condition. You can now begin the installation of wall panels. Wall panels can be installed from either left to right or right to left. Stand the first panel up and place the short rib at the edge of the stud wall. Check the panel with a level to ensure that it is plumb, and fasten with screws as specified in the drawing package. Lap subsequent panels onto previously installed panels and fasten. Make sure each panel is plumb as you continue this process. Cut wall panels for framed openings as needed. When installing panels at the gable end, we recommend that you stand the panel in place, mark the cut line on the panel, and cut the panel on the ground. You should use non-abrasive tools such as tin snips or electric power shears to cut the panels so as not to void your panel paint warranty. You can also install the panels at the gable end and cut them to fit later. Now install the corner trim. Field cutting of the wall panel ribs may be required for the corner trim to fit properly. Next, install the cap trim and eave trim at the low side of the building. The cap trim closes off the top of the wall panel. Place the cap trim on top of the panel, then put the eave trim in place. The eave trim should line up with the top of the eave angle and run to the outside of the corner trim. When installing the fasteners, ensure that they engage both the eave trim and the cap trim. Trim pieces should be lapped as specified in the drawings. We recommend that you pre-drill the side lap fastener locations. See the drawing package for the spacing of these fasteners. You can also pre-install the side lap mastic on the panel ribs. Note: do not remove the paper cover until you install the roof sheeting. Before installing roof panels, we recommend that you run a string line held at the panel overhang dimension. This will help keep your panels in a straight line and prevent the need to measure each panel overhang. You can now start installing the roof panels. As with the wall sheeting, the center line of the first rib will line up with the edge of the rake angle. It is also ideal that the ribs on the roof line up with the ribs on the wall sheets. The first row of fasteners will go through the roof sheet, closure, the eave angle, and into the hat channel, tying everything together. It is very important that the fastener engage all 4 materials. Secure the rest of the panel as specified in the drawing package. Before laying down the next panel, remove the paper cover from the mastic. Continue installing roof sheets and repeat the process on the other side of the roof. Installing the rake trim is the next step. You will need to prep the trim for the ridge and eave conditions. Refer to the drawing package for detailed instructions on how to cut the rake trim, install the corner caps, and miter the rake trim at the edge. The ridge trim assembly closes off the ridge of your building. It consists of foam closures, cap trim, mastic, and the ridge cap. Install these components as described in the drawing package. Finally, finish off the sheeting process by installing the SteelTuff Steel Buildings peak plate. If you purchased a roll-up door with your building package, here are a few basic installation steps. You can install this door anytime after the framed opening trim has been installed. Assemble the door tracks as described in the manufacturer's instructions and stand the door up against the opening. Be sure to install tie plates at the door track hole locations. Level the door track and bolt the door to the opening. Continue to secure the door in place and install the remainder of the door hardware as described in the manufacturer's instructions. Congratulations! You have completed the construction of your new SteelTuff steel building. Let's take care of our environment. Please be responsible and recycle scrap materials in the appropriate manner. This concludes your Aid of Construction video. Thank you for taking the time to gain a better understanding of the major steps in constructing your building. We hope you'll enjoy your SteelTuff steel building. Thank you, and be safe.